Social media was supposed to connect us. Somewhere along the way, it started doing something else.
I don't know if this is that bad, but my daily average screen time is like 5 hours. 5 hours. 5 hours. 5 hours. Is that bad?
Hello? Absolutely. I mean, look.
The average person now picks up their phone 96 times a day. That's once every 10 minutes you're awake.
I spend nearly 12 to 14 hours on my phone every single day, and it is ruining myself and my brain. Like, I can literally feel my brain rotting, and I don't know what to do about it.
I feel like I am losing my life to social media. I'm losing my life to scrolling, and I am so not here for it. I do not want to go out of this life with just a high screen time and not enough experiences and hobbies, and saying that I just tried something and attempted something new and did things that just keep my creativity, keep my identity, or just allow me to grow and explore and experience. Like, life is too flipping short and valuable and precious to lose it to doom scrolling. And right now I just feel like that's all I do.
It didn't just connect us to people. Social media started disconnecting us to everything else, from attention, from presence, and sometimes even from ourselves. Because what's might look like connection on the surface often feels like fragmentation underneath. We message people more than ever. We see more faces more than ever. We know about other people's lives than at any point in history, but at the same time, we are rarely fully where we are. We scroll while we eat, we scroll while we talk, we scroll while we walk, and our attention is constantly split. Globally, we are spending almost 7 hours a day looking at a screen. In some countries, it's over 9. That's more time than most people spend sleeping. And nearly half of Americans now openly admit, not suspect, but admit that they consider themselves phone addicted. Let that sit for a second.
Lately, I just been feeling so disconnected from people lately. Everything just feels fake and temporary. Like, it really just be feeling like I know what the outcome's gonna be. I know how this is gonna work out.
Social media has left us less social. So now even basic things we might have done before, where we would go talk to somebody or call somebody, we'll go the easy route. We'll go through technology. And little by little, we don't even talk to each other.
I've found myself doom scrolling. I found myself wasting hours and hours on social media, feeling like I didn't achieve anything.
Around this time last year, I went dark. And by that, I mean I deleted the Instagram app off my phone. I was disconnected from all the nonsense on social media. I wasn't tempted to doom scroll whenever I had a minute. And I felt free. And I'm sort of feeling like going back to that point now. So I find myself wasting time, doom scrolling, nonsense. I'm not saying it's all nonsense. There's a lot of good in social media. And that's what's stopping me from just going dark again.
To be honest with you, this isn't something I read about. I have lived it, I have experienced it, which was what motivated me for making this video. There have been nights where I told myself, let me just check TikTok for a sec and see what's going on. And before I even register what's happened, 6 hours are gone. Not 6 hours of anything productive, not 6 hours of rest either. Really, just gone and scrolled away. And the worst part isn't even the time. That unsettling feeling afterward, like you were present for none of it, but somehow still feel exhausted. Someone once said something to me that stuck. If it's not earning you money, you probably shouldn't be scrolling. You're not talking about a small habit anymore. We are talking about something that has quietly become the biggest single activity in most people's day. Bigger than work, bigger than sleep, bigger than the people sitting right in front of us. You're always half here and half somewhere else. And over time, that changes how we experience life. Psychologists call this continuous partial attention. It means that we are never fully focused on one thing. Attention isn't just something we use. Attention is something that we are. And social media is specifically built to capture that attention. Here's the part that changes everything once you actually understand it. None of this happened by accident. Former Facebook executives have openly admitted this. Sean Parker, Facebook's founding president, said the entire thought process behind the platform was built around one question: how do we consume as much of of your time and conscious attention as possible? The answer was to engineer a steady trickle of small social validation hits, likes, comments, shares, to keep you posting, checking, and coming back.
When Facebook was getting going, I had these people who would come up to me and they would say, you know, I'm not on social media. And I would say, okay, you know, you will be. I don't know if I really understood the consequences of what I was saying. It probably interferes with productivity in weird ways. God only knows what it's doing to our children's brains to really understand it. That thought process was all about how do we consume as much of your time and conscious attention as possible. And that means that we need to sort of give you a little dopamine hit every once in a while because someone liked or commented on a photo or a post or whatever. That's going to get you to contribute more content, and that's going to get you, you know, more likes and comments. A social validation feedback loop, because you're exploiting a vulnerability in human psychology.
Ahmad Paliaptia, Facebook's former vice president of user growth, went even further. He said he feels genuine guilt over helping build tools that exploit short-term, dopamine-driven Facebook loops. Loops he believes are quietly damaging how people relate to each other. And it's not just Facebook. The endless swipe down feed with no natural stopping was engineered to be maximally addictive, deliberately designed to outrun your brain's ability to catch up with its own impulses before you scroll again. There's actual neuroscience behind why this works so well. Dopamine doesn't spike because you got a reward. It actually spikes in anticipation of one. And when that reward is unpredictable, sometimes a like, sometimes nothing, sometimes a message, sometimes silence, the anticipation becomes more addictive than the reward itself. This is why just use more willpower was never going to work, because it was never about willpower. You're not undisciplined. You're going up against products built by neuroscientists and behavioral engineers, funded by companies whose entire revenue model depends on your attention staying exactly where it is. Willpower is a personal resource. What you're fighting is an industry.
Every notification, every like, every short video is specifically designed to capture your attention, specifically designed around a simple system, which is dopamine. It's not even in a dramatic way that you would notice it right off the bat. It's in a very repetitive, subtle, almost hard to notice when it's happening kind of way. You don't know when something interesting will appear, so you keep scrolling through TikTok. Your brain keeps checking just one more scroll, just one more video, and suddenly the minutes turn into hours and you realize you spent your entire day doing nothing but scrolling on TikTok.
The amount of hours that people spend on social media, communicating via social media instead of a phone call, instead of a Zoom, or instead of, most importantly, live and in person. It's mind-numbing what you're doing with social media.
And that's not even the worst part. Something else is happening underneath all of this. We start comparing, not to reality, but to curated moments, perfect faces, perfect relationships, perfect lifestyles, perfect homes, perfect everything. We start comparing ourselves to these perfectly curated lifestyles. And even though we know it's edited, that still doesn't stop us from comparing our lives to theirs. Our brain still reacts to it. We start feeling like we are behind, like we are missing something, like everyone else is doing better than us. And this is social comparison in action. We don't compare ourselves to reality. We compare ourselves to highlights, and highlights always win. But maybe the deepest effect of it all isn't necessarily comparison, but the disconnection it brings. Because when you're always observing life, you stop fully living it. You tend to start thinking about how things look instead of how they feel in that particular moment. You start to curate moments instead of just simply living it. You start creating moments instead of just experiencing them. And slowly but surely, a version of you starts to form. Not just the private you, but the performed you, the version of you that thinks, how will this look if someone saw it? Even when no one is there. And over time, that changes how you relate to yourself. Because the silence starts to feel uncomfortable and stillness starts to feel boring. Your real life starts to feel slower than the feed. So where does this lead? That's the question.
The data already gives us a preview. People who exceed 9 hours of daily screen time show a significant higher risk of anxiety and depression. Some research puts it at roughly 30 to 40% higher. People spending more than 5 hours a day on screens are about twice as likely to deal with sleep disorders, and nearly 75 to 80% of heavy screen users report digital eye strain. Now project that forward. If the average person's screen time keeps climbing the way it has over a decade, and it has, every single year, we are not just looking at a generation that's mildly distracted. We are looking at a future where attention spans keep shrinking to match the shortest, most stimulating format available, making slower but more meaningful work like reading, deep conversation, sustained focus feel almost physically uncomfortable. We are also looking at a future where real-world social skills quietly erode, replaced by comfort with parasocial, low-stakes digital interaction instead of the harder, richer work of in-person relationships. And I believe we are already starting to see the genesis of that. We are also looking at a future where mental health outcomes worsen at a population level, not because any one person is broken, but because an entire generation is spending its most formative years inside systems engineered to maximize engagement, not well-being. We are also looking at a future where the gap widens between those who protect their attention and those who don't. Attention is becoming a genuine competitive advantage in careers, creativity, and relationships. The people who learn to reclaim it early will simply be operating with a resource most people are quietly losing. This isn't fear-mongering. It's just where the current trajectory points if nothing changes.
It's not that social media is taking us away from real life, but it's that it's treating or it's teaching us to experience life differently. Fragmented, fast, always shifting. But here's the important part. None of this is permanent. Attention can't be rebuilt and presence can be relearned. But only if we notice what's happening in the first place. Only if we notice that spending almost the entire day on your phone is not normal.
Now, I want to be clear about something, and I believe I've said this in most of my videos, that it's not a social media is entirely bad sort of thing. This isn't an anti-social media video. I'm not about to tell you to delete every app and disappear into the woods. Create phone-free windows, not phone-free days. And you can start smaller with phone-free meals, phone-free first 30 minutes after waking, phone-free last hour before bed. Make the phone physically harder to reach. Leave it in another room while working or spending time with people. Distance is one of the few things willpower doesn't have to fight against. It just works. Replace scroll time with a specific alternative, not just less scrolling. An empty plan collapses back into old habits. Something as small as a 25 minutes focused task, a walk, or a call to an actual person gives your brain somewhere else to go. And finally, track your actual usage for 1 week before changing anything. Awareness alone, seeing the real number, not the guessed one, is often the first real crack in the habit.
The moment you realize that you're not just using social media, but you're being shaped by it, that's the moment you start getting yourself back. So maybe the question isn't how much are we connected, but maybe the question is how often are we using social media?
Like, I'm not disciplined, yo. I need to be disciplined.